What's up, basketball fans? Welcome into NBA Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, and guys, the NBA playoffs are set. We are ready for some NBA playoff basketball. We've moved on from the bubble. We've moved on from the regular season. Now we got the playoffs, which means, number one, the playoff stash is back, and number two, we're playing some real basketball. So let's go ahead and check out the bracket and see what the Western Conference is going to look like. That first seed, it's locked in with the Los Angeles Lakers, but they don't know who they're playing yet. Could be the Portland Trail Blazers, could be the Memphis Grizzlies. Play-in tournament will begin on Saturday for those two teams. The Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets in a highly anticipated matchup at 4-5. Denver Nuggets and Utah Jazz at 3-6. And another fun one, Kawhi Leonard versus Luka Doncic in that 2-7 matchup in the Western Conference. So now I'm going to ask you guys this question and really ask you guys to do this along with me, because as I break down the matchups, I'm going to make all my predictions. Western Conference, Eastern Conference, the first seed all the way down to the bottom seed. So we're going to start with the West. And as I make my predictions, I want you to make them along with me in the comment section or wherever you're watching, whether it's Facebook, YouTube. Go ahead and make your predictions. Now, we can't start the NBA playoffs until we know who the 8th seed is in the Western Conference. And it comes down to the Portland Trail Blazers and the Memphis Grizzlies. It's Ja Morant versus Damian Lillard. And here's the deal. Portland beat out the Phoenix Suns for that 8th seed, or really a chance to get that 8th seed. But Portland now only has to win one game in those two games to advance to the next round. Memphis Grizzlies, on the other hand, will have to win 2 games in order to be the 8th seed and play against the Los Angeles Lakers. So that'll begin on Saturday, and if necessary, we'll go to a game on Sunday. But again, Portland just has to win one. That's all that matters, and if they win that one, they're in the first round against the LA Lakers. Like I said, this is a matchup between some elite point guards in the NBA bubble. Damian Lillard and Ja Morant. Damian Lillard has been outstanding. 38 points per game, 10 assists, shooting better than 43% from three. Meanwhile, Ja Morant, he hasn't been a slouch. 19 points per game, 10 assists, but he's not shooting the ball well. 39% from the field and 22% from three. And for the reason that is Damian Lillard, and really just because he's been so elite, I'm taking the Portland Trail Blazers. I think they will go to round one. I think they will face off against LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers, and that is going to be a ton of fun. It's going to be a lot more fun than I think if Memphis was in there. Now, in the NBA bubble, the Blazers went 6-2, and the only 2 losses they had were to the Los Angeles Clippers and to the Boston Celtics. Now, in the final game that really decided their fate and pushed them into that playoff tournament, they beat the Brooklyn Nets by 1 point. It came down to one missed shot from Karis LeVert, and the Portland Trail Blazers snuck in. And that means now they're playing the Los Angeles Lakers. Most likely, if they win this play-in tournament, they're going to play against the Los Angeles Lakers in the first round of the Western Conference playoffs. And that's going to be so much fun because 1 versus 8, not usually highly anticipated. When you got Damian Lillard in the playoffs, it's going to be highly anticipated. So I'm predicting it's the Lakers versus the Portland Trail Blazers. Number 1 versus number 8. And that first game will take place on Tuesday, August 18th. But we've got the full schedule breakdown for you right here. No matter if it's Portland or if it's Memphis, this is what the Lakers playoff schedule looks like. Their first game is going to be on Tuesday at 6 o'clock Pacific time. And then they get some time off. And they'll go ahead and play Thursday, August 20th. Then they'll turn around. Game 3 will be Saturday, August 22nd at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. And then you get a little bit of the weekend. You get to take some rest, give LeBron James and Anthony Davis some fresh legs. And Game 4 will be Monday, August 24th. Now, if the Lakers, as long as they don't sweep whoever they end up playing, they're going to go to a Game 5, a Game 6, and a Game 7. Those games will take place. Game 5 will be August 26th. That's a Wednesday in the middle of the week, which kind of gets everybody over hump day. Game 6 Friday on August 28th, and then Game 7 August 30th, if necessary. None of these games are necessarily going to be played. We don't know. The Lakers could sweep the Trailblazers, and it could be a wrap in 4. But if not, you got to get 5, 6, and 7. Now, if you're a Lakers fan and you want to keep up with all their playoff action, you want to keep up with what they do against whoever gets the 8th seed, whether it's Memphis, whether it's the Portland Trailblazers, you're going to want to make sure you subscribe to our Lakers-only channel, youtube.com/LakersTV. We just hit 15,000 subscribers. That was a huge stepping stone for us, and I really appreciate you guys watching with me there. But we want to get to 20,000, 25,000. We want to keep it growing. So go hit that subscribe button at youtube.com/LakersTV. Now, the other Los Angeles team, the Los Angeles Clippers, are going to face off against the Dallas Mavericks. That'll be the 2 seed versus the 7th seed. And you look at what Dallas has done this year with Luka Doncic at the helm of it all, 29 points per game. Kristaps Porzingis pulling down nearly 10 rebounds. But then you got the Clippers. It's 27 points per game from them and 8 rebounds coming from Ivica Zubac. You've also got, 27 points per game from Kawhi leading that team. And Paul George especially has been so important to this team. Now, it's a tough matchup for the Dallas Mavericks because they got to go up against some elite wings in PG and Kawhi. But when you got Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis on your team, anything is possible. When you look at the duos and what they've done in the bubble, their numbers are absolutely outstanding, really, on both sides. However, the Mavericks are getting it done a little bit better. That is, Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic are getting it done a little bit better than Kawhi and PG are overall. Luka and Porzingis together have been averaging 60.5 points per game, 20 rebounds, 12 assists, and shooting it a little bit better than 34% from 3. You look over to Kawhi and PG, 54 points per game, 10 rebounds, 8 assists, but they're doing everything a little bit more efficiently than Luka and Porzingis have for the Dallas Mavericks. Now let's get an in-depth look at what the Mavs schedule is going to look like in the first round of the playoffs. Monday, August 17th, that's when it's all tipping off at 8 o'clock Central Time, followed by a Wednesday game, August 19th, also at 8 o'clock. They'll have one more 8 o'clock game. That'll be Game 3, August 21st. That's a Friday. And then Game 4, August 23rd, will be a nice little afternoon game. You go to church on Sunday, and then you get to watch the Dallas Mavericks. Now, if necessary, Game 5, Game 6, and Game 7 will be played August 25th, August 27th, and August 29th, with those times still to be determined. Now, trust me, I want this series to go 7 games. But I'm afraid the Clippers are going to take it in 6. However, if you want to see and keep up with how the Mavs do against the Clippers, really, the entire playoffs long, you got to go to youtube.com/allthingsmavs. That's our Mavs-only channel. Go check it out. The link is right down below. Go hit that subscribe button. Give all of our videos a like on our All Things Mavs channel. Now, the 3 versus 6 seed matchup is the Utah Jazz versus the Denver Nuggets. That's going to be a fun one. You've got Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell at the helm of the Utah Jazz team against a team like the Nuggets who really faced some injury problems in the bubble. You got Jamal Murray back, but now you got Jokic. Michael Porter Jr. has shown out for this team, and it's been so fun to see them grow. They've also got guys like Bol, Torrey Craig. When you look at this starting 5, it's a lot of fun. Your starting backcourt is right now Jamal Murray and Torrey Craig because Gary Harris and Will Barton are both injured. And Mike Malone expects them to get back at some point in the playoffs, but there's no telling when. Michael Porter Jr. has stepped into that starting role and has been a breakout player in the NBA bubble alongside 2 big men in Nikola Jokic and Paul Millsap. Now, for this one, I'm taking the Denver Nuggets over the Utah Jazz. I think they're going to pick up a win in this series. I think it's going to go 5 games. I think the Nuggets are going to really just bog down the Utah Jazz, and for that reason, the Denver Nuggets are my dark horse in the Western Conference. I really believe that if this team gets out of the first round, which I think they will do in 5 games, they could push for a spot in the Western Conference Finals. That's my dark horse team. Let me know who yours is. Shout it out down in the comment section as we continue to make our playoff previews and playoff predictions on today's show. Now, perhaps the most highly anticipated first-round matchup is the Oklahoma City Thunder against the Houston Rockets. Now, they're both, one or the other is going to be the 4 or the 5 seed. And really, the most important thing about this matchup right now is Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is not expected to be there for the Houston Rockets at the beginning of this series. He's expected to miss significant time, potentially 1 game, potentially all 7 games, if it takes that many. And if he's out, that means the Thunder are going to have a really easy time against this Rockets team. Now, when you got James Harden on your team, there is no denying that you have a chance to win a game. But when you look at this Thunder team, man, it's a lot of fun. CP3 and SGA are leading the charge in the backcourt, with Lukas Dort being really an elite defender at this point in his career as a rookie. Steven Adams in the middle and Danilo Gallinari as the big men, and their bench is absolutely loaded. Dennis Schroeder, my 6-man pick of the year. Darius Bazley, a rookie who's scored 20 points in 4 consecutive games in the bubble. T. Ferg, Hamidou Diallo, and they also have Nerlens Noel all coming off the bench for the Thunder. I'm picking Oklahoma City to win this one in 7. 7 games. I think we're going to get a really fun series. I think it's going to continue to get drawn out, but I want you to make your call and make your predictions below. If you think it's the Thunder, I want you to hit that lightning bolt emoji. If If you think it's the Houston Rockets, hit that rocket emoji. Just open up your keyboard and get to the emoji section. That's all you got to do. Make your votes. I'm voting Thunder. What do you guys think? Now, before I get into the Eastern Conference, I want to tell you about an amazing deal at Fanatics that you got to check out today. Chatsports.com/NBA shirt. You can get your favorite player and your favorite team shirt today. It's the best place to go. You're going to get all the great deals. They're shipping for free for a limited time only. And no matter who you want to represent, you can get them at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/NBA shirt. Whether it's the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference, just let me know. Giannis Antetokounmpo, they've got that available. And speaking of Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Greek Freak and the Milwaukee Bucks, we're moving into the Eastern Conference playoffs at this point in time. And really it all starts with the number 1 seed, the Milwaukee Bucks, against the number 8 seed, the Orlando Magic. Now, this matchup, I don't think is going to be very interesting. I think Giannis is going to steamroll the Magic. They don't really have anybody to defend him now that Jonathan Isaac is out. It's kind of like Aaron Gordon, Nikola Vucevic, and maybe Markelle Fultz. So I'm picking the Milwaukee Bucks to beat the Orlando Magic in just 4 quick games. I don't think it's going to last long. I think Giannis is going to get a nice little rest, and then he's going to move right into that second round of the NBA playoffs. I don't think it's going to be super exciting, but we get to watch the Greek Freak play some playoff basketball. Now, the 2 seed versus the 7 seed could be a little bit more interesting with the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors, but the Toronto Raptors are amazing. I'm picking the Raptors in 4 in this one again. Look, the Nets are fun. They're scrappy. They've got Karis LeVert, who's really doing all he can for this team. The Raptors have been on a tear since they've been in the NBA bubble. They're 6-1 in there. They only have 1 game left on Friday. They've been the surprise of the season after Kawhi and Danny Green left. And I think with this Brooklyn team being as depleted as they are, I don't see any scenario in which the Raptors don't win this one in 4, maybe 5 games. But make your prediction below. Maybe you think the Nets will take it. See if we can shock everybody. I'm picking the Raptors to be my dark horse in the Eastern Conference. And maybe that's a stretch calling them a dark horse because they are the number 2 seed. But still, anybody not named the Milwaukee Bucks should be considered a dark horse in the Eastern Conference. And if Nick Nurse can lead Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam back to the NBA Finals, good Lord, that would be a lot of fun for not just the NBA, but all of Canada, for crying out loud. Now let's move into the 3 versus 6 matchup, the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Boston Celtics. This one is very interesting because the Philadelphia 76ers were expected to be much better than they are. But now the 76ers are without Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid has been hurt all throughout the bubble. And this Boston Celtics team is playing like they're on fire. They have been incredible. Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown in the same backcourt has been so much fun. That's 2 20-point-per-game scores, along with Jason Tatum, who is their new superstar. Gordon Hayward's finally getting back to his old self, averaging 17.5 points per game. But their biggest weakness is in the middle, with Daniel Tice as their starting center. That being said, the 76ers' biggest strength is in the middle, with Joel Embiid as their starting center. They've also got Al Horford. And now that there's no Ben Simmons, Shake Milton slides into that starting point guard position. Josh Richardson is there, and Tobias Harris is there. So I think this could be a fun one, but I'm picking the Boston Celtics. I do think the Boston Celtics are going to win this one in just 6 games. As much fun as Embiid is, I don't think you can carry this team past the first round when you're playing a team like the Boston Celtics. Now, another highly anticipated matchup, another 4-5 matchup. It's in the Eastern Conference. It's the Miami Heat and the Indiana Pacers. All year long, they have been neck and neck. So what I want you to do is predict which team is going to win this one. Think it's the Miami Heat? Type MIA. Think it's the Indiana Pacers? Type IND. Listen, the Heat have been incredible. And really the leader of all that is Jimmy Butler. And we all know there's a lot of beef between Jimmy Butler and TJ Warren. And that is one of the reasons this matchup is so highly anticipated. TJ Warren, though, has been the MVP, one of the MVP candidates of the bubble, with 31 points per game, shooting over 52% from 3, and doing it in every single game for the Pacers. Now, Jimmy Butler's taking some nights off, but that means he's going to be fully rested for the playoffs, and that's a large part of the reason that I'm choosing the Heat to win this one in 7 games. They've got Bam Adebayo. They've got Tyler Hero. They've got Goran Dragic. They have such a great mix, not to mention Duncan Robinson as well. They've got such a great mix of veterans and young guys that I think they're going to really give the Indiana Pacers a test. But I think it's going 7 games, and I'm picking the Miami Heat. Now, I've broken down my predictions. I've given you all the playoff matchups. And so what I want you to do is comment down below. Which team do you want to win it all. I'm not asking you to pick who you think's going to win it all. Which team are you cheering for? Shout it out down in the comment section.